is that the NFL announced that 4 Detroit Lions players, including their first-round pick from last year, Jamison Williams, have been suspended. So you've got Jamison Williams, wide receiver Quintez Cephas, wide receiver Stanley Berryhill, and safety C.J. Moore, along with a player from the Commanders, the Washington Commanders. They've been suspended because they made bets, either on the NFL or they made bets mobily in the facility. Now, low-key, everything is focused on the players that were suspended today. But the Detroit News also reported that several Lions staff members in multiple departments were fired for gambling policy violations last month. You'll remember Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons was suspended for a year, no ifs, ands, or buts, because he made a bet on the NFL while he was hanging out at the Hard Rock Casino in Miami. That's a big no-no. This is collectively bargained, by the way. It's league policy. You cannot gamble on the NFL and, quote, prohibits any form of gambling while in any club or league setting. So I believe it was Williams who was suspended for only 6 months because he bet on college football.
6 games, yeah.
I'm sorry, 6 games. He bet on college football, but he did it while he was in the facility. But again, I get back to what the Detroit News said. Multiple staff members from multiple departments were making bets while they were hanging out in the facility, and they got fired.
Okay, let's start with the bullet points here that are important.
Yes.
Okay? If you establish a rule, even if you don't agree with the rule, you have to follow the rules at some point. So your hands are slightly tied there. And you also have to make an example. And I get it. You're screaming over there. But the NFL takes all this money from BetMGM, from DraftKings, from FanDuel. Yes, the two things can be true at the same time. All right? That's number one. Number two, I've said it before. Let me say it again. If the sports books ran the world would be 1,000 times better off than we are right now.
Them and the Chick-fil-A drive-thru.
Sure.
If those two things were ruling the world, we'd be great.
So what happened here was the bets were flagged because the calls were coming from within the building. And the only way that gets flagged is with the geofencing. Yeah. And the league and the book are basically coordinating and saying, hey, we have a problem here. And that's where you get to, I placed a bet from the locker room. I was hanging out. I placed a bet on placed a bet on an Alabama game. I don't know.
Who knows, right?
Right? So, okay. But all of this comes to light because of the strictness of the book, because of the strictness of the. When I say the book, I mean the sports book. I mean the casino. I mean the people taking the action, because they need to protect the integrity of the action.
Protect the money.
Okay,
that's the thing. It's like why are people shocked? Money always take precedent. Once you start messing with the potential of the money, they're going to shut this down.
If you can't trust the integrity of the action, you can't place a bet there.
So you don't need any inkling that something's weird is going on with gambling. And that's why I've seen some arguments like, well, this is a cancer on sports. Gambling is a cancer on sports because you're going to get some sort of scandal. No. The scandals happen when it's not actually covered by the sports books. The sports books are the ones making sure that it doesn't happen. It's good.
Yeah, they're the ones flagging the action.
Yes, because it's their bottom line. So I find the whole reaction of hypocrisy much, NFL? Well, first off, I mean, we don't need this to show hypocrisy with the NFL. Like this is not the droid you're looking for.
No.
If you want to point out the hypocrisy of the NFL, there's any number of things you can point to.
The military,
Yes. This is not one of them. This is just business and simple rules. And every company has
anything
policies.
with player safety or concussions.
No. You can point to that one. This ain't it.
This is not the one.
This is not it. This is a real simple thing. Like, for instance, we advertise beer. Okay? We're clearly, as a company, taking money from beer, and that also helps my paycheck, too. Like more advertising coming in. I do the 919 Beer podcast. But you know what I can't do while I'm here at 99.9 The Fan, even though we advertise beer? I can't drink on the air right now. Like, that's against policy to be drinking on the air, or at least be hammered on the air.
Right.
I mean, if it's a bit, maybe I can get away with a beer. Like special exemption type thing. But that's against the rules. Or the other thing, too, company Wi-Fi. I joke on the air. I joke on the air all the time. Like, hey, man, make sure you're doing that on the LTE, right, on the 5G. Make sure you're not doing that on the company Wi-Fi because they know what you're doing. Now, I work in a job that if HR ever came to me and said, hey, Joe, Why were you watching Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B's WAP video uncensored on the company Wi-Fi? And I'd be like, well, I was doing it for show research. That's the reason why I was watching that. It was for
It's a broad umbrella, yeah.
It's a very broad umbrella because, well, it's a topic that we were discussing on the air the other day, and I needed to double check something to make sure I got it right.
Content.
Exactly. It's content. Like, I can get away with that, but most of you can't. All right? So if you're watching, literally, it's called Not Safe for Work. NSFW. All right? Not Safe for Work.
There's
a reason why it's tagged that. Because if you open that at work, you're going to get fired. So the same thing happens here with gambling. Hey, guys, it's against our policy for you to be making bets while on a company facility. Why is this hard for people to understand? Like, shout out to Will Brinson over at CBS Sports who's doing the whole hypocrisy much. Buddy, this ain't it, man. That is not the point you think you're making. And yeah, he can come on this podcast and debate me.